Guardians are going for their 6th. Did they win? They lost last night.
They lost last night. They'll do their 5th win, I believe.
5th win in a week. 4-1 right now over the A's. This is the last game in that series. It's the bottom of the 8th out there in Oakland. And then they'll take tomorrow night off, and they will return home to Cleveland for the home opener on Friday.
Fresh and ready.
What's that?
Fresh and ready for
Friday.
Yeah. Home opener.
4:10 is the first pitch. We will be live all day here at MMS inside Progressive Field. So once those gates open up, come see us and say hi, and we'll have a couple of pops, get ready for the game. I will have a pair of home opener tickets on Friday for you. We'll post Poundcake up somewhere and then throw you a couple of hints as to where he is. So that'll be fun on Friday down here. Cavs win in Orlando last night. 117-113 was the final. It's back-to-back against the Magic down there in Orlando. So they'll play tomorrow night. That's a 7 o'clock tip-off, and then the end of the regular season Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m. tip-off against the Charlotte Hornets.
The A's just tied it up.
Oh, boy.
4-4 now.
All right. Well, there you go.
But Cavs got 50 wins. That's good.
Yep, 50 wins. They are 50-30. There's no way to know how many total games that is.
No way to know.
But there it is.
Impossible, man.
Impossible. If you listen to us on iHeartRadio from outside Ohio, tell me where. I'd like to know where our bureau chiefs are. Cynthia listens in Surprise, Arizona. Greg is brand new in Indianapolis. Another Greg is in Collinsville, Illinois. I think that's right across the river from St. Louis. Jeremy is in Bonita Springs, Florida. Kimberly's up in Erie, PA. Jamie is in Mansfield, Texas. Nolan is in Pittsburgh. Of course, you can always leave us messages there.
Once again, Poundcake Stuff's wrote out. He's way funnier whenever he reads that for the sports break. I'm telling you, just admit it. Just admit that Mary is that stupid chick in Poland. Just admit that. Everybody knows you're well-meaning. Everybody knows you think you're the devil. So, but just please, just admit it. Admit it.
Sir, I have no idea to what you're referring. Everything on this program is organic, happens naturally. I'm not writing things. If that's your contention, that I'm writing material for this program every day, I don't know how you could listen to this for any length of time and think that any work was being put into this product. So I'm not sure what you want me to admit. Trust me. Sir, if I had something to admit with respect to the daily content of this program, I certainly would. Now, is Poundcake writing his own sports break? Of course he is. What did he say? It's wrote out? Mm-hmm. His sports break is wrote out. Maybe he meant R-O-T-E. Maybe he thinks it sounds the same every single week. But no, trust me, I can assure you, Mary is not Jenna from Poland.
Everybody thinks that. And she's called in live when I've been here. We've talked yesterday. At the same time.
It was happening yesterday.
That's how good we are at the magic of showbiz.
Unreal.
Theater of the mind.
You know, Alan, I think that when I could not see with my band, the Feral Cats, like, it's not bad. I could do it. I know, but I'm telling you.
But Jenna gets mad. Well, yeah, she gets mad when Mary pretends to be her.
You know, I think your guys' show is, like, really boring. Okay, whatever, bye.
Yeah, that's Mary.
It's me, with all that time that I have calling into the show.
Well, listen.
How could I possibly be leaving voicemails when I'm sleeping till noon?
Listen,
tell me that, dear
I
caller.
will, because I've made it all up. I've made up the fact that Jenna is calling and leaving voicemails on the after hours line at all hours of the night. I've made that up. And okay, let's get this off our chest. Since we're admitting things, I am Jenna.
Shocking.
And I also take it as a compliment. If people are
I'm Jenna. Wait, is this Spartacus?
Spartacus. I am Jenna. I am Jenna. Thought somebody else was going to come in, but listen, that's the kind of organic stuff you just can't get from writing. Poundcakes is all wrote out. Boy.
That's a compliment to me. If they think that you're writing my sports breaks because they're that good, then fine.
Didn't say they're good.
He didn't say they're good. He said you're not writing them.
Well, still, they're not giving me credit for my effort because they think it's beyond my ability to write. So
right.
I take that as a compliment. I surprise people. Keep them on their toes, bitch.
Keep them on their toes. Okay. Jeremy just texted me. Alan, I haven't been in Bonita Springs for 2 years. Yikes.
Oh, well, update
Yikes.
us. We don't know.
Well, maybe he did, and I forgot. I'm so sorry. My apologies. I don't want to attach anybody to a place they no longer are. Fine, I'll replace you with Steve in Thornton, Colorado. Named after, of course, the great philanthropist Thornton Mellon.
Oh, not Reverend Thornton Heat?
Do it one time for me. Yeah, the Reverend Thornton Heat. Oh, what a great band. I think it just came through, right?
Yep.
Did you go?
Nope.
Oh.
Did you?
Why? I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Same.
All right. Well, still a great band. You know, we were talking about this earlier with respect to the RuPaul Build-A-Bear. That it's always the adults who just can't keep their heads on straight. It's not the kids who are complaining about things, you know. In the deepest, heaviest parts of the COVID pandemic, it was never kids who were complaining about wearing masks in school or in public. It was parents and adults, air quotes, pissing and moaning and screaming and crying about it. And they would project that onto their kids, or they'd say that they were doing something to protect kids, just like they do now. But it has nothing to do with kids. It has to do with what they do or don't like. And so that's why it really doesn't come as any kind of shock, but it is a perpetual bummer when these places try to do Easter egg hunts. Because the adults go ape crap crazy. And the place in Dayton, Beaver Creek, that is Dick's neck of the woods.
That's where he worked at, the Lowe's.
There's a place called The Green, and I don't know, I assume this is like a Crocker Park type joint. The Green in Beaver Creek tried to have an Easter egg hunt this past weekend, and the management had to put out a full statement about how bummed out they were and how they're not going to do it anymore because the parents couldn't keep it together. We've gone to these before when our daughter was younger, maybe 2 or 3 years old. There were places near us that would do Easter egg hunts, you know, and I was part of the crew that would go out and hide the plastic eggs or whatever. And most of the parents were great, letting their kids run around. But you got these, like, backseat driver parents, probably the same ones that are screaming at their kid at the baseball game or whatever, you know.
Helicopter parents, things like that.
Yeah, who are like going to get them for their kid. Like, bro, this is an opportunity for you to stand there and not have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Which, as the parents of a little kid, you're just dying for moments like that, where you don't have to do anything. You let them run around and find the eggs. Management wrote there in Dayton that the event was meant to allow 1- and 2-year-olds to hunt for eggs in a designated area. And then 3- and 4-year-olds to start hunting elsewhere with their parents. And then they give them a little bit of a head start, and then everybody else would begin the hunt. Only children were supposed to pick up the eggs, obviously. If you are a reasonable, rational, adult human being, you know how these work. Problems with crowd control began immediately, with adults not listening to requests. When the 1- and 2-year-olds were allowed to go hunt their eggs, some parents ran to the area to find the eggs for them. Adults were seen picking up the eggs. Some adults pushed children out of the way or knocked people over, leaving several children empty-handed. And this is all kind of part of this notion just in the culture that if you help out, you're a pussy. I know not everybody thinks that way. I think most people don't think that way. But there is a strain of that is very pronounced now. That's where all this woke crap comes from. Woke just means empathetic. But it's being kind of weaponized against people. Anything that is seen as helpful or empathetic or sympathetic, you're a big old pussy. And so some of these parents clearly want their kid to have the most eggs. Plastic eggs, mind you. These ain't real eggs. So this whole place in Dayton called
Who
The
could
Green.
afford that?
Yeah, right? Well, I was reading that people are starting to paint potatoes because eggs are so expensive. There was a story midweek. There was a story midweek, though, about the largest egg producer in the country or something saw their profits go up 800%. And they go, well, listen, a supply chain, that may or may not be the case. But it's a boon to companies when there's supply chain issues, because if you can just ratchet those prices up, it's a long time before they'll ever put them down. They'll keep them artificially high. So egg prices are still high, but people are painting potatoes. And there are places that are doing potato hunts instead of Easter egg hunts. But again, these are plastic Easter eggs where they'll put a piece of candy in or they'll put a little toy. So this place in Dayton had to put out this whole statement. They're like, hey, if you donated prizes, thank you so much. If you donated your time, we appreciate it. But we're never going to do this again. We spent over an hour announcing that 1- and 2-year-olds would go first and go only before the older kids. And people just couldn't listen to us. Just couldn't keep it together. So there will be no plans to hunt eggs again. That's a weird way to put it, by the way. You're not really hunting the eggs. You're finding the eggs. It's an Easter egg find. We feel that the community will be better without the hunt, this woman says. And boy, strong words. When you refer to someone as an HU next Tuesday, boy, you know you got their hackles up. She finished her public statement by saying, the beef goes deep.
Damn it, I want my cut.
But, and everyone can envision a field of pain-in-the-ass parents going to find eggs for their little kid. And you're like, oh, just, knock it off. We will never have an Easter egg hunt again because the parents can't keep it together.
The parents can't be cool. Because the parents can't let kids just be kids.
Hide them in your own damn yard. Hide them in your own
But then
yard.
they're not beating other kids. They have to have the
It's about
best
winning
kid.
Easter.
Yes, you have to win Easter with the most
eggs. That's what.
sixlets.
If they
What do you
have
think Jesus
siblings-
died for? He died for your child to get the most eggs.
If they have siblings or cousins,
And if your
that
kid
works.
doesn't get the most eggs, he doesn't come back.
Listen, when all my kids were younger and we would do these Easter egg hunts, there were plenty of times where your kid ends up unhappy because they have 2 or 3 eggs and other parents are running around grabbing them for their kids. But that's when you tell your kid, you go, look, I mean, 1 or 2, it's a little harder, but they're barely figuring out what's going on anyway. When they get a little older and they understand the concept of, yeah, there's some real pricks running around, I mean, it's not the end of the world. You're going to be fine. They're not weighing them at the end. They're not counting them up. It's just parents doing that in their own heads or looking at a basket. Look at all the eggs you got. Yeah, and Ben says, one could understand how someone would think that Poundcake doesn't write his sports break, considering the difficulty he has reading them. And then goes on to say, I am Jenna. Oh, Ben is Jenna.
Better!
Finally, Alan, which number in your 1,000 voices is Jenna? Jenna is number 318. I am the man of 1,000 voices. Alan, I don't think I've ever seen you and Poundcake in the same room.
Got you there.
Listen, his sports break is wrote out every week by Poundcake. I can assure you. I got my own writing to do. I'm not writing his sports breaks. And you know me, I'm not Joe Sports. It's not like mine will be any better. His, he's locking in. The beef goes deep. He knows.
Beef goes deep. The beef goes deep is so good.
It's great. You got to TM that, homie.
Okay.
You get the paperwork going. A better way to celebrate the sacrifice of Jesus than to push over a child to get a plastic egg for your own kid.
Right.
It's like adults during baseball season leaping for a ball in front of a kid that, How were you damaged as a child that as a grown-ass man, you're trying to steal, T-shirts that were shot into the audience or a foul ball or whatever?
My friend Matt's got a story about going to a Blue Jays game. He's from Buffalo, and they went to a Blue Jays game with his neighbor at the time, and his neighbor totally did the push the kid out of the way to get the ball. He's like, "Hey, Matty, I got the ball," and Matty's like, "I don't know you, man. I can't be around you."
Yep. How did you guess my name? We've never met before. Alan, maybe Poundcake is using Chat GPT for his. Poundcake, are you using Chat GPT for?
Damn it! I could never have anything to myself on this show.
Just give me one thing, please.
Damn.
Chat GPT just said, "I'm Jenna."
All right. Listen, we got to be careful. It's going to all make her mad.
Leslie that calls in about science stuff?
Yeah.
She just said she's Jenna. So,
well, this is why sometimes Mary comes in with her voice a little thin because she's been leaving voicemails growling
All
for me
night.
all night.